Hello world, Agustin Cortez coming live from Web3. And today for our daily blockchain learning, I definitely focus more on Solidity, learning a bit more about the programming language, the smart contracts, focusing more on the minting and the NFT process. So as things are moving on from for Learnio, I should say, we're getting closer to launching our collection. The art's being drawn, all the assets and layers are coming together, getting the generative code and the scripts aligned, and leveraging existing code to push everything to OpenSea and taking a checklist approach on what makes a good launch, right? With opening the whitelist, making sure that the metadata stays hidden, making sure people can't snipe the rares, components that really make a successful launch. And I was doing a deep dive into the smart contract for minting process, and it's quite fascinating that within a week or a few weeks, rewatching the same content, everything just clicks very, very seamlessly, just through sheer exposure and tying logic together. So I'm very excited to get the project off the ground. There's still some weeks ahead of us, just pure head down grind, but things are definitely looking very exciting. We're going to be starting our marketing components fairly soon, and just got to make sure that whatever gets thrown at us will be able to handle. And with the NFT space, things move so quickly. New things arise every day, so it's very exciting to start touching up on our base, but starting to see what other projects are doing. And with the process of when you own an NFT that has true and strong utility, this is giving it a new incentive for people to buy, hold, and now it's staking. So we're taking a look at that. I'm also looking into the code of what these components are doing, for example, with fractionalized artwork, which is essentially a collection or a DAO purchases assets, they put into the vault, and then from the vault's net value, they distribute ERC20 tokens, and then those tokens are used by the users, and they do take value, but the whole premise and truly objective of the tokens is utilization. If it's based off making the token value based, then the SEC, excuse me, I feel a burp coming with up, but the SEC will come in and say, yo, this is a security, you can't be doing this, you're violating regulation. So it's good to get the base understanding of the NFT collection, the code, the smart contract, the variables that have to be in play. I went to really deep dive into pros and cons of keeping data on chain, especially the image, converting it to an SVG, getting the code, pasting it to the chain, and versus using a decentralized platform like IPFS or Weave. I believe that's the name of the alternative, and which one's more feasible approach, and just making sure getting a holistic viewpoint of all options, but knowing what we're moving forward with. As of now, and speaking out loud, definitely dominating more on the IPFS route, just for the sake of speed of execution, and payment on adding data onto the chain is much more expensive. So if we could just get one link that is on IPFS and takes care of the metadata and not having it to be on chain would be a very strong solution. So now I'm going to be continuing the night focusing on rarity. I want to get an objective standpoint of the formulas that lead to strong rarity. That way, when I run the scripts, I have an understanding of each unit's piece, and how to set the code for what traits to be rare. So far, everything's going smooth. And as we start getting more and more assets to test with, the project is going to start tying together. And the last part I'll mention was I was looking at some security challenges, and one area that was really interesting is on storage. So I mentioned in prior videos that nothing on chain is really private. So well, there's variables like you should hash your private keys if you do put on chain for whatever reason, but um, with variables being private on chain, like you can still get the data, how to utilize that. And one thing I learned today was that the EVM does it based off layer, or reads the code based off layer, off a 32 byte cap. So when you introduce your state variables, and these are the variables that get launched onto the smart contract, you should place the variables that you chunk them the most efficient way that they add up to be 32 bytes, because if say 3 variables that are let's say 4 variables that are 8 bytes each, 4 variables will fit under one layer in the EVM, and that would save a lot of gas rather than the EVM running 4 different layers. So that's some components I've been more aware of, learning about security too, on how you can declare it private but run some storage functions and do some calling that you'll end up getting the data for private variables. And yeah, so that was a high overview on the security, but I'm gonna put my head down and get a fuller glimpse of more code and just start prepping up, because things are going to be moving very fast very soon. All right, so I'll keep it very short. I'll just stay today for Solidity, and I'll touch up on other areas, maybe NFTs, some DAOs I've been peeping, and other components. Yeah, with that being said, thank you for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow.